There are growing concerns about the impact the COVID-19 Delta variant could have on the nation's economic recovery. Facebook and Google announced this week they are requiring all employees to receive a COVID-19 vaccine before returning to the office. Other companies are expected to follow suit as more staff returns to working in person. But what impact could this have on people trying to find a job? The Labor Department says 400,000 Americans filed first-time unemployment claims last week. That is down from 24,000 claims from the previous week. In addition, the Commerce Department is reporting the nation's gross domestic product has reached pre-pandemic levels. Michelle Meyer is the head U.S. economist for Bank of America Securities, and she joins us now for more on all of this. Hi, Michelle. Great to see you. So first-time unemployment claims fell after hitting a 2-month high last week. What does the declining number of initial jobless claims reveal about the current state of the economic recovery?
Well, clearly, it's a positive sign about the health of the labor market, which is consistent with what we're seeing with a broad range of indicators about the labor market. There's a lot of demand out there for workers. Job openings are at record highs across a number of industries. And when you look at the survey data, consumers are also reporting that they're having an easy time finding jobs, that there's a lot of opportunity out there. There's a lot of churn in the labor market. And that's clearly being reflected in the fact that jobless claims are coming down and fewer people are out there sitting unemployed.
Yet more than 13.1 million people were enrolled in some form of unemployment benefits for the week ending July 10th. And that is up more than 500,000 people from the previous week. Why are we seeing a growing number of Americans enrolled in jobless programs?
Well, look, we have to remember that the jobless programs have changed. So when we're comparing it to historical averages for jobless benefits, it's going to look very different because we've expanded eligibility now after the pandemic, where more and more people have the ability to get on unemployment insurance than they had in the past. So it's just changed the requirements and the criteria. But I think that the story from initial jobless claims is the one to focus on here, which is the flow. And the fact that fewer and fewer new people are filing for unemployment insurance is the positive story. And it's very consistent with what we're seeing in terms of the broad labor market data. There's a lot of growth out there in the labor market, and I think that's going to become more and more apparent in the coming months.
And Michelle, the Commerce Department says the U.S. economy grew 1.6% from April to June, bringing the nation's gross domestic product to the pre-pandemic level of 6.5% for the year. This sounds like really good news. Still, this was below economists' expectations, wasn't it? Can you put this all into perspective for us?
Sure. So what we typically look at growth rates, we look at a quarter-over-quarter annualized growth rates, which is what you referenced there. It's a 6.5% roughly annualized growth rate, which is pretty comparable to what we saw in Q1. That is a strong economy, without a doubt. Prior to the pandemic, we were seeing about 2% annualized growth rate. So it's about 3 times the rate of growth we had prior to the pandemic. And on the back of today's report for the second quarter, the economy has returned to the pre-COVID level of GDP, and it's being driven by a strong return of the consumer, a big increase in business investment, which managed to offset some pullback in housing-related investment and other, commercial real estate investment, and also, offset the fact that we're seeing some really big inventory drawdown, which is a net negative to the economy at the moment, but will be a positive in the future as we start to build back those inventories.
So this is seen as overall a positive that we are at this level.
Absolutely a positive. This was a strong report. Underlying growth in the economy. We're back to the pre-COVID level of growth.
That is exciting news. Now, of course, the Biden administration, as you've probably heard, is enacting a mask mandate in all federal buildings as the Delta variant spreads nationwide. We're also seeing a growing number of private sector companies initiating mask mandates, even some initiating vaccine mandates as well, as we said about Facebook and Google in the intro there. So do you expect all of this to have an impact on the private sector? Could it impact the number of Americans looking to return to the workforce?
So the way I'm thinking about the increase in COVID cases and the spread of the Delta variant is more about a change in consumer behavior around spending. And, when we look at the past few months, the economy was really driven by this reopening, this return to spending on services, on leisure activities, travel, restaurants, entertainment. That was the real kind of big change in the economy and what was driving growth. So my concern is, as we look ahead, the spread of the virus can cause consumers to be a little bit more cautious. Maybe they don't engage as much in those activities, and that can have a dampening effect on the economy, and that can create a bit of a speed bump for overall economic growth. So it doesn't stop the recovery. It doesn't halt what we're seeing in terms of economic progress, but it can create some challenges in the near term, particularly because the recent growth that we have seen has been so dependent on the services side of the economy. Now, that could also, of course, as you note, impact the labor market as well in terms of how quickly some of those jobs return, or the willingness of workers to return to workforce given some concerns over the virus spread. But all of this should be proved to be somewhat temporary.
Well, in general, great report and good news about the economy. Michelle Meyer, thank you so much for joining us and breaking it all down.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.